The sun glints off the polished boots of Sergeant William Barrett, a Royal Guard of the Coldstream Guards, standing sentinel at his post. His scarlet tunic is immaculate, his bearskin cap steady despite the breeze. The courtyard buzzes with activity as diplomats, military officers, and staff prepare for a formal exchange between British and American allies. Enter Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Carter, a decorated U.S. Army officer striding confidently with his entourage. His chest gleams with medals earned through years of service in conflict zones. Carter is known for his commanding presence and a no-nonsense attitude. As he crosses the courtyard, his eyes lock onto Barrett, who stands motionless, staring straight ahead as protocol demands. Carter pauses, his brow furrowing. He's used to being saluted by soldiers of all ranks in his own military. The stillness of the Royal Guard feels like a challenge. Whispers ripple through the crowd. British staff, American aides, and onlookers sense the tension building. Carter, muttering to his aide, "Why isn't that guard saluting me? I'm a senior officer." Aide, "Sir, I think the Royal Guards have specific protocols." Carter, "I'm a lieutenant colonel. I expect respect." Carter steps closer to Barrett, his polished shoes clicking on the cobblestones. The crowd falls silent, watching the unfolding drama. Barrett remains statue-like, his discipline unyielding. Carter, "Soldier, I am Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Carter, United States Army. You will salute me. That's a direct order." Barrett's eyes remain fixed forward, his body rigid. Not a muscle twitches. The silence is deafening, broken only by the faint rustle of flags in the wind. The crowd holds its breath, some cringing at Carter's misunderstanding of the situation. British embassy staff exchange uneasy glances, aware that Royal Guards operate under strict orders and do not salute foreign officers unless specifically directed by their chain of command. A young British corporal standing near hesitates, unsure whether to intervene. He knows Barrett is following protocol to the letter, but the American officer's rank and insistence create a delicate situation. "Carter!" Louder, his face reddening. "Did you hear me, soldier?" "I said salute." Barrett's silence is not defiance but adherence to centuries-old tradition. Royal Guards are not permitted to engage with anyone while on duty, except under specific circumstances. Carter, unaware of this, interprets the lack of response as disrespect. His aide tugs at his sleeve, whispering urgently. Eyed, "Sir, I think we should check with the embassy liaison." Carter, "No, this is about respect. I won't be ignored." The crowd murmurs, some filming the encounter on their phones. The moment teeters on the edge of a diplomatic incident. Barrett, inwardly steady, focuses on his training. Remain composed. Uphold the honor of the Guard. Major Elizabeth Harrow, the officer in charge of the Guard detachment, strides into the courtyard. Her presence commands respect, her uniform crisp, and her demeanor calm but firm. She's been briefed on the situation by a quick-thinking corporal and understands the need to balance diplomacy with protocol. "Lieutenant Colonel Carter, I'm Major Elizabeth Harrow, Coldstream Guards. May I assist you?" Carter turns, his frustration evident but tempered by Harrow's rank and composure. "Carter, Major, your guard refused to salute me. I'm a senior officer and I expect the courtesy due my rank." Harrow nods, her expression neutral, but her mind racing to navigate the delicate situation. She gestures toward Barrett, who remains at his post. "Harrow, I understand, sir. Sergeant Barrett is performing his duties as a Royal Guard. Our protocol dictates that guards on ceremonial duty do not salute unless ordered by their commanding officer or in specific circumstances, such as honoring heads of state or during a formal guard change. This is not a matter of disrespect, but of adherence to our traditions." Carter blinks, processing the explanation. The crowd listens intently, some nodding as they grasp the nuance of the situation. Harrow continues, her tone diplomatic yet authoritative. "Harrow, however, as a gesture of respect to our valued allies, I will personally ensure that the appropriate courtesies are extended during today's ceremony. Sergeant Barrett's discipline reflects the high standards of the British Army, just as your service reflects the honor of the U.S. Army." She turns to Barrett, her voice clear and steady. "Harrow, Sergeant Barrett, present arms for Lieutenant Colonel Carter as a mark of respect to our American allies." Barrett executes a flawless salute, his movements precise and deliberate. The crowd exhales, some clapping softly at the resolution. Carter, caught off guard by the gesture, returns the salute, his expression softening. The formal ceremony proceeds without further incident, with Carter and the American delegation participating in a wreath-laying and exchange of honors. At the reception, Carter seeks out Major Harrow, a glass of wine in hand. His earlier bluster is gone, replaced by a reflective demeanor. Carter, "Major, I owe you an apology. I didn't understand the guard's protocol. I thought it was personal." Harrow smiles, gracious but direct. "Harrow, no apology needed, Colonel. Our traditions can seem rigid, but they're rooted in centuries of service. Sergeant Barrett was doing his duty, just as you were asserting yours. It's a reminder that respect between allies comes from understanding each other's ways." Carter nods, glancing across the room where Barrett, now off duty, stands in conversation with other guards. The sergeant's discipline and professionalism linger in Carter's mind. "Carter, that young man, Barrett, he's a credit to your army. I'll be telling this story back at Fort Bragg, but with a different spin. A lesson in humility." Harrow chuckles, raising her glass. "Harrow, to humility and alliance." They toast, and the room hums with conversation. Outside, the crowd disperses, but the story of the Royal Guard's unwavering discipline spreads, shared on social media and whispered among diplomats. Barrett, unaware of the attention, prepares for his next shift, his focus unchanged. Sergeant Barrett stands at his post once more, the incident a distant memory in his disciplined mind. But the story has gone viral, with YouTube videos and news articles praising the Royal Guard's composure and Major Harrow's diplomacy. Titles like "Foreign Officer Demanded a Salute, but the Guard's Response Shocked Everyone" garner millions of views. At a US military base, Carter shares the story during a training session on international military etiquette. He emphasizes the importance of cultural awareness, using his own misstep as an example. His soldiers listen, some chuckling, others nodding in appreciation of the lesson. In London, Major Harrow receives a commendation for her handling of the situation, though she deflects praise to Barrett and the guards. The incident strengthens ties between the British and American delegations, with future visits marked by greater mutual respect. Barrett, ever the professional, continues his duties. One day, a young boy in a miniature guard uniform approaches the courtyard, saluting him earnestly. Inspired by the viral story, the boy dreams of serving. Barrett, breaking protocol for a moment, returns the salute, a faint smile beneath his bearskin cap. The story of the Royal Guard's discipline and the foreign officer's lesson becomes a small but enduring chapter in the history of military camaraderie, a reminder that respect is earned through understanding, not demanded. The mess hall at Fort Bragg hums with the clatter of trays and the low murmur of soldiers. At a table in the corner, Captain Maria Alvarez, a young officer in the US Army, scrolls through her tablet, pausing on a viral video titled, "Royal Guard Schools, American Officer." The thumbnail shows Sergeant William Barrett, ramrod straight, and Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Carter, mid-demand. Alvarez, fresh from a course on international military etiquette, leans forward, her coffee forgotten. Alvarez, to herself, quietly talking about. She presses play, and the familiar scene unfolds. Carter's demand, Barrett's silence, Major Harrow's diplomacy. The video, now at 10 million views, ends with Carter's humbled salute and a narrator praising the Royal Guard's discipline. Comments flood the screen, some applauding Barrett, others debating military protocol. Alvarez, tasked with training her unit on Allied cooperation, sees an opportunity. Across the table, Sergeant Jamal Hayes, her training partner, glances over. Hayes, "You watching that guard video again, Captain? It's everywhere." Alvarez, "It's not just a video, Jamal, it's a case study. Carter's mistake, Barrett's composure, Harrow's fix. This is how we avoid stepping on allies' toes." Hayes nods, chewing thoughtfully. Hayes, "Heard Carter's giving a talk tomorrow. Says it changed how he sees chain of command." Alvarez smiles, her mind racing. The incident has sparked discussions beyond YouTube. In London, the Coldstream Guards have added a module on diplomatic encounters to their training, inspired by Barrett's example. In Washington, D.C., embassy staff now brief officers on foreign ceremonial protocols. Citing the St. James, Barrett, still on duty in London, remains unaware of his global impact, but his name is whispered in military circles as a symbol of discipline under pressure. Alvarez, standing, resolute. Let's use this in tomorrow's session. Show the video, break down the protocols, and get Carter to share his side. Our soldiers need to understand respect isn't just about rank, it's about culture. Hayes grins, grabbing his tray. Hayes, Hayes. Bet we'll have their attention. Nothing like a good story to drive it home. As they leave, the tablet screen glows with a new comment. Sergeant Barrett didn't just guard a palace, He guarded tradition. Across the Atlantic, Barrett steps into position for another shift, his boots echoing on the cobblestones, his legacy growing with every retelling. The King's Arms pub glows with amber light, its wooden beams steeped in history. Sergeant William Barrett, in civilian clothes, sits at a corner table, a pint of ale untouched before him. His broad shoulders are relaxed, but his sharp eyes carry the weight of his duties. Across from him, Corporal Sarah Langley, a fellow Coldstream guard, leans forward, her voice low but curious. "Langley, Will, you've seen the videos, haven't you? 8 million views last I checked. They're calling you the Iron Guard." Barrett shifts, uncomfortable with the attention. He's avoided social media, focusing instead on his shifts, drills, and the rhythm of guard life. The incident with Lieutenant Colonel Carter feels like another lifetime, yet its echoes linger. New training protocols, curious tourists snapping photos, even a letter of commendation from his commanding officer. Barrett, quietly measured, "I didn't do anything special, Sarah. Just followed orders. Kept my post." Langley, "That's the point, mate. You didn't flinch. Not when that American officer barked. Not when the crowd stared. It's why they're teaching your story in America now." Barrett's brow furrows. He's heard whispers of Fort Bragg's training sessions, of Captain Alvarez's lessons on cultural respect. The thought unsettles him. He's a soldier, not a symbol. Yet as he traces the rim of his glass, a memory surfaces. Major Harrow's calm voice ordering the salute, the crowd's hushed awe, Carter's softened nod. It wasn't just protocol, it was a moment of connection. Outside, rain patters on the cobblestones, mirroring Barrett's thoughts. The Coldstream Guards have invited him to speak at a recruit ceremony, to share his experience. He's hesitant, but Langley's words linger. "Langley, you showed the world what we stand for, Will. Discipline. Honor. Maybe it's time to own that." Barrett meets her gaze, a flicker of resolve in his eyes. He lifts his pint, a silent toast to duty, and takes a sip. Tomorrow he'll stand sentinel again, but tonight he begins to see his role in a larger story, one of bridges built between nations, one salute at a time. Setting: the Wellington Barracks, London, 9 months after the incident at St. James's Palace. A crisp autumn morning, as the Coldstream Guards prepare for a recruits passing out ceremony. The parade ground at Wellington Barracks hums with anticipation. Rows of fresh-faced recruits in scarlet tunics stand at attention, their bearskin caps gleaming under the morning sun. Families, officers, and dignitaries fill the stands, their murmurs mingling with the snap of regimental flags. At the podium, Sergeant William Barrett adjusts his cuffs, his heart pounding beneath his composed exterior. Today, he's not just a guard. He's a speaker, tasked with addressing the recruits about duty and honor. Major Elizabeth Harrow, standing nearby, gives him a reassuring nod. Harrow softly, encouraging what it means to be a guard. Barrett steps forward, his boots clicking on the platform. The crowd quiets, recognizing the Iron Guard from viral videos now nearing 12 million views. He clears his throat, his voice steady but resonant. "Barrett, 9 months ago I stood my post at St. James's Palace. A foreign officer demanded a salute. I held my ground, not out of pride, but because discipline is our foundation. It's what binds us, from these barracks to our allies across the sea." The recruits listen, rapt, as Barrett recounts the incident, not as a tale of triumph, but as a lesson in composure and respect. He speaks of Major Harrow's diplomacy, Lieutenant Colonel Carter's humility, and the bridge built between nations. The crowd leans in, some nodding, others filming discreetly. Across the Atlantic, Captain Maria Alvarez streams the ceremony at Fort Bragg, her unit watching Barrett's words. The incident has inspired a joint US-UK training exchange, with Carter set to visit London next month. But whispers of tension emerge online. Critics question whether the salute compromised British tradition, stirring debate in military forums. As Barrett concludes, a recruit raises a hand, bold but respectful. "Recruit, Sergeant, did you ever doubt your stance?" Barrett pauses, his gaze steady. "Barrett, doubt? No. Duty doesn't waver, but I learned respect is a two-way street, even when traditions clash. The crowd erupts in applause, but Barrett's eyes scan the horizon. The ceremony ends, yet the story's ripples hint at new challenges, debates, exchanges, and his own evolving role. He steps off the podium, ready to face whatever comes next. The training ground buzzes with activity. Humvees rumble, radios crackle, and soldiers from the Coldstream Guards and U.S. Army move in sync. Sergeant William Barrett, leading a squad of guards, adjusts his beret, his eyes scanning the field. The joint exercise, inspired by the St. James's incident, aims to foster cooperation, but online debates have cast a shadow. Posts on X, now at 15 million views for the viral video, accuse the guards of bending tradition for American egos, fueling skepticism among some British troops. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Carter strides across the field, his presence commanding but tempered since the incident. He spots Barrett and approaches, extending a hand. "Carter Gray, good to see you. Your speech at the recruits ceremony, heard it made waves." Barrett shakes his hand, his expression polite but guarded. "Barrett, Carter, just doing my duty, sir." Their exchange is cut short by a commotion. A young British corporal, influenced by online critics, mutters loudly about foreign officers demanding salutes. A U.S. sergeant overhears, bristling, and words escalate into a heated argument. Barrett and Carter move to intervene, their shared history a silent anchor. Down, Sergeant. We're allies here." Barrow to the corporal. "Steady on the mission. Tradition holds us, but respect binds us." The soldiers relent, but the tension lingers. Later, at a debrief, Captain Maria Alvarez, flown in from Fort Bragg, joins Major Elizabeth Harrow to address the group. Alvarez shares how the incident reshaped U.S. training, while Harrow praises Barrett's discipline as a model for unity. Alvarez: "This exercise isn't just drills, it's proof we're stronger together." As the day ends, Barrett watches Carter salute the British flag, a gesture of respect. But X posts flare anew, some calling the exercise a publicity stunt. Barrett, standing firm, senses the weight of his role, not just a guard, but a bridge in a fracturing world. The training ground is transformed, now lined with bleachers filled with dignitaries, press, and locals. Flags of the US and UK flutter side by side, but the air crackles with unease. X posts, now viral at 20 million views, amplify divisions. Some praise the exercise as a triumph of alliance. Others decry it as a betrayal of tradition. Sergeant William Barrett stands with his squad, his face impassive but his mind alert. Nearby, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Carter briefs his troops, his jaw tight. A closing ceremony is set to cap the exercise, but rumours swirl of a protest by a small group of British traditionalists, fueled by online rhetoric. Major Elizabeth Harrow and Captain Maria Alvarez, overseeing the event, exchange worried glances. Harrow: "Low. Urgent. Could undo months of progress." Harrow: "Agreed. Let's lean on Barrett and Carter. They've been through this before." As the ceremony begins, a hecker shouts from the crowd, waving a sign. "No salads for foreigners." US and British soldiers tense, hands twitching toward rifles. Barrett steps forward, his presence commanding silence. Carter joins him, their eyes meeting in mutual understanding. Barrett: "We're not here to divide. We're here to honor duty, ours and yours." Carter, adding, "Respect isn't given by rank alone, it's earned together." In a spontaneous act, Barrett and Carter turn to face each other. Barrett salutes first, crisp and precise. Carter returns it, his gesture deliberate. Then, as one, they face the flags and salute both nations' colors. The crowd falls silent, then erupts in cheers. Cameras flash, capturing the moment. The heckler lowers his sign, abashed. Alvarez and Harrow exhale, smiling. Ex-posts shift, flooded with praise for the salute of unity. Barrett, stepping back to his squad, feels the weight lift. The bridge he's helped build stands stronger than ever.